Kevin, what's the current status of your team, and what are you able to do? How many players do you have available? What's the update?
Well, a couple things. Happy MLK Day to everyone. And Luke, you look great with a beard, and so I'm
Thank you,
glad
Kevin.
they pointed you out first. We're trying to get on the court, and it's been a challenge. When we got back from Florida State the next morning on that Thursday, we had a tier one person who was positive called in and said he had some symptoms, and obviously we automatically got him tested, and unfortunately that test came back um, as positive. And then obviously we've been testing for the last 3 or 4 days in a row just to make sure that it wouldn't change. And unfortunately for us, a couple of days after that, we had another one of our party test positive also. And so we tested this morning. We're going to test tomorrow. We're going to test Wednesday, and hopefully we try to figure it out. Right now, I have at least 5 people in our tier one that's is quarantine or a part of COVID-19, and so that's the toughest thing for us. It's been a little frustrating, but who am I to get frustrated with what we have going on around the country? And I pray for everybody that's going through some of this stuff.
Justin Williams, go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Coach. I'm curious if you have any updates on Manny Bates and Braxton Beverly. Do you suspect that those guys will be ready to go whenever you guys return to action?
Yeah, I hope so. Both of those guys are pretty banged up, and obviously Braxton's is because he's been playing for 4 years and he's always played hurt, and obviously he's a tough dude. It's hard for him to even sit out games, and he won't tell you. That's the problem is, we have to pry it out of him when something's wrong, because he won't step up and say, "Hey, coach, I'm hurt," and he's just not built that way. I'm hopeful for both of those guys. I would say Braxton's a little bit more ahead than Manny. When we'll have both of those guys on the court, I don't know. Our intentions, obviously, because we missed the Georgia Tech game and now Virginia because of this, we have full intentions on trying to be ready to go on Saturday. But of course, a lot of that's going to come down to whatever happens with the contact tracing and the virus. It won't be because of a guy out because of injury. It'll definitely be whether we play or not because of the virus.
And I have a separate question related to the postponement of your upcoming game against Virginia. I know the game this weekend against Georgia Tech was postponed. That's now 3 conference games for your program postponed, several across the league. What's your confidence level right now of those games being rescheduled as the current schedule looks? And do you think that any type of postseason play should be postponed at this point in an effort to get those games in?
Well, my confidence level is high. Now, what does that mean? I don't know that, because a lot of this is the unfortunate thing in certain situations is you may have to lose a game against somebody else to make up a game against somebody else. I think the biggest question is if there is a chance, and I don't know this, for obviously the tournament to be pushed back a little bit, it gives everybody the opportunity to make up a bunch of games. Now, I don't even know if that's an option. I'm confident that we will make the games up or try our best to make it up. In our situation, we've lost 3 really good conference games, Louisville, Georgia Tech, and now Virginia, and we want to play those games. And I'm sure those guys, I think every coach in our league wants to be able to play those games, whether they happen or not. But to your last question, I think it would help everybody out if the tournament was pushed back. But I don't think any of us are in control of that.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Mike Barber, go ahead.
Kevin, obviously this is new for everybody, but I'm curious. We just saw Clemson come off a break and really struggle, and obviously Virginia played well. I know there's more to it than the break. Are there things you're learning? Are there things you're sharing with other coaches, hearing from other coaches about how to handle a break so when you come back, you're as ready as possible?
Yeah, it's weird because I don't know that anybody has the answer to it. When you look at Florida State situation, and by the way, that day I thought they could have beat the Lakers the way they played against us. They were tremendous. But we don't know, and you don't know everybody's program or who actually has to pause. And are they being able to practice? Are there quarantine days? And so I think everybody falls in a different category. In Florida State's situation, I think they had a good amount of days where they can practice. They're prepared for that because they play 10 guys. And so you got 10 to 12 guys that are all, in his mind, have, two different sets of starters, where those guys' competition in practice is pretty doggone good, where they get a chance to compete against each other. But I don't think that there's Mike, I don't think there's any formula. I just, I've seen a couple guys come off and been really good. One was Florida State we played against early in the year. I think Gonzaga did it. But most teams, I would say most teams that I've seen have struggled after having a layoff.
Thank you.
Casey Hintz, you are up next.
Hi, Coach. Hope you're doing well. Just kind of to bounce off of that just a little bit, just where are you guys at as far as practicing and what you guys have been able to do, and have you been able to get anything done from those last few games that you would have hoped to have been able to do?
Yeah, Casey, we've been very limited. After we had our positive after Florida State, we were obviously going to practice because we had 2 days in between before Georgia Tech, and we had to take a day off, and then we got back in with limited amount of guys to be able to get some shots up. I'm scheduled to go at some point today, but obviously I'm still trying to figure out who can go and who cannot go. And I think that's the biggest challenge. I know from where you guys sit, one of our biggest issues with the virus is the contact tracing piece. And then certainly if somebody else turns positive, just trying to figure out who has to sit and who has to be able to play. The other part of it is we've asked our guys to try to protect the entire program. If you have some symptoms during the day or that night, please let us know, and we're going to be very cautious about not putting that person around anybody in the program. So I would say, to go back to your original question, very limited. Don't have a full team as of now. Some of that is because a couple guys were holding out because of injuries, but trying to get back to a full strength team.
And if you don't mind, just a follow-up as well, just, you guys have had quite a few games, whether it was your program or another one that you guys have had postponed or canceled. Just how are you guys holding up, like your team, the guys, especially some of your younger ones?
I've asked these guys, and I know you guys have talked to all of the coaches, I've asked these guys to be ready to adapt. It's going to be different. We're all facing something that we've never seen before, and obviously games are going to be played. They're going to be cancellations. There are going to be some makeup games. And so for the most part, I think our guys are understanding. Right now, my main focus for them is obviously trying to get them prepared to be ready to go tomorrow, because we start second semester academically. And obviously we want to be ready whenever we get the opportunity to get back on the court. And whenever that presents itself, we'll be ready to play.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin, thank you. We appreciate it. Good luck this week.
Thanks, guys.
All right, next up, we have Jim Larinette.